Hi everyone, please consider subscribing, or if you want, you can support me via PayPal with the link below. Code Geass is one of my favorite animes and is undoubtedly known for its superb ending. It's a blend of sci-fi and fantasy that actually makes sense, for the most part. I'm still blocking Archie whether it's a movie or a series. Akito the Exiled was already a great addition that didn't change the main story. Back to the topic. Code Geass is primarily an anime about war and ideologies of how the world should be, with the meat of the battles relying on what basically is a game of chess. So, if you've read the title, today we will be discussing Code Geass The Art of War, Part 1, Tactics and Strategy. So, before we begin, let's define the two. Tactics are your carefully planned actions for attaining a certain goal. More often than not, these are the ones that are more reaction based. It depends on the specific encounter or situation at hand. Tactics are the actual means used to gain a specific objective, which is normally small in scale. For example, on episode 1 of Code Geass R2, Lelouch was about to be killed by Britannian soldiers until C2 reawakened Lelouch's Geass by breaking the Emperor's Geass on him. Lelouch then, as usual, made his monologue and made everyone pay attention to him. From covering his eye, he highlighted that it was something for them to pay attention to, and so he was able to cast his Geass on them and order them all to kill themselves. Strategy is a high-level plan to achieve one or more goals under conditions of uncertainty. This is also referred to as the master plan, in which you play the long game. There are many examples of elaborate strategies throughout the series. One good example is in R1 episode 10, in which Lelouch planted charges around a certain area of the mountain to cause a landslide and destroy Cornelius' forces. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but outlier tactics come into play here. Nonetheless, what Lelouch did was pre-planned and was set in place before the fight even began. A strategy is what you formulate to win a big battle, or the war itself, whereas tactics is more of a quick or instinctive reaction to win the battle at hand. You can look at a strategy as the overall plan, while tactics are the ones used to carry it out. Now, let's highlight more differences and see how it plays out. A tactic is preventive, while a strategy is competitive. Take, for example, the situation. A bishop is going to take a knight. The solution you'd use to solve this problem is a tactic. While the main objective of the game is to capture the other player's king, this is where you use your strategy. An example of this, in line with Lelouch's thinking, is sacrificing smaller units to destroy an official. Next, formulation. Tactics are formulated on middle to lower tiers, whereas strategies are formulated on the top tier. Pawn or frontline soldiers often come up with their own tactics to win the battle, while following the path, which is the strategy, to win the war. Going back to our example before, so a pawn shields the knight because then the opponent would be losing a bishop if it chooses to go through with the move. This then creates an opening for you to take the king down. Next is flexibility. Tactics are incredibly malleable as it is a response to an ongoing encounter, whereas strategies are normally rigid. A pawn can block the path of the knight to prevent it from taking the king. The tactic here would need to change, as it always does in real-time battles, while the strategy concocted to secure the opponent's king still needs to be carried out. All good strategies has multiple moving parts or tactics to obtain the goal. Code Geass have shown the advantages and disadvantages of both tactics and strategy. But since tactics are solutions for real-time battles, it works a lot better as an outlier to disrupt your opponent's strategy, while going in blind without a strategy is suicide. Overall, you need to use both to win the war.